Scarpins Avenue.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sklar Country, the virus edition, aka the Pandy Pods,
AKA two nice guys, no big surprise.
aka it's sweater weather, no time for the leather,
AKA it's sweater leather, no time for Heather Locklear.
aka electoral college votes with too many dopes, twin brothers who give us laughs, some improv, and no gaffes. Brian Mateo Venegas.
Ooh, three names.
I love
Power.
Brian Mateo
like
Venegas. So good. It sounds like he could be coming off the top rope at all times.
Absolutely.
I love it.
We're coming off the top rope, coming in hot. New year, 2021. We're still giving you this every single day. We're down to one story, but we're lengthening that story in an attempt to give you content every single day. I know how much I've been relying on my podcast. We know the world is locking down. We want you to be safe. There is one way to consume media and to consume things like events like this, what we do every day here, and Live Dumb People Town, which is coming up on January 16th.
Saturday night, 6:30 West Coast time, 9:30 Eastern time, eventbrite.com. Look up Live Dumb People Town, Zach Galifianakis.
It's the safe way to hang.
Galifianakis is our guest, and John Paul White, the lead singer of the Civil Wars. You can't go wrong. This is going to be an amazing show. Get your tickets now. We want everyone here to hang out and do it. All right, let's jump into this
Let's
story.
jump into the story. Okay, New Year's happened.
Yes, it did.
I did not celebrate with Randy.
Nope. Andy Cohen got wasted and made Anderson Cooper do shots. I don't know if you saw
They were
that.
doing freaking shots on the air.
On the air. It was insane. Anderson Cooper is acted the way I do whenever I do a shot.
Right. He was like, he couldn't handle it.
He couldn't handle it, and I was like, yeah, that's what.
You know what? I turned on ABC at like ABC Channel 7.
Yeah.
At like, because I was like, all right, we're gonna watch the ball drop
in New York at 9:59.
At not 9
At midnight?
At 8:59.
8:59 to watch it in
They
New
didn't
York.
show the ball drop.
I know. We missed it because
we were watching it on Channel 7. Then we
I got
switched
some-
over to CNN. I
and
was so
that's-
mad. I'm like, how dare you?
How dare you
do
dupe
that?
us like that?
But it was watching Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen get drunk. I was like, this should not be on CNN. Like,
No.
CNN should be saying,
you
we
can't go
cannot
back
put this
and
on
forth.
air.
Right. You can't go back and forth between like getting drunk on New Year's and then like talking about violations of ethics.
Lemon.
And Don Lemon
Got ripped.
down in New Orleans a couple of years ago. He was
He's got to be careful.
wasted.
And I'm like, hey, put this on Bravo, man. Do not put this on
Yeah,
CNN.
it should be on Andy Cohen's network.
It was, I got to say this, though.
Mellow New Year's Eve this year.
So this is a true like shift in me, and maybe it was the pandemic, whatever, but I was totally content to be at home with my family for a mellow New Year's Eve.
So last year, 2 years ago, was it last year or 2? No, 2 years ago. Last year I was in Tahoe for New Year's Eve. But 2 years ago, we had friends over. They hung out until New Year's Eve. Then they left at like 12:30. Our kids went to sleep. And then Amy and I went out to our friend's RV and we sang all night. We partied super hard.
That's
and
crazy.
We hung out until 6
that's
in the
fun.
morning.
That's
that was
super fun.
unbelievable.
I love it.
I'm like, that's what New Year's is all about.
But for the pandemic style partying, that's look, I'm down for the mellow thing. I'm
Yeah.
into it.
Okay.
And if I'm totally being honest with myself, in the past, I have been bummed to have missed out on nights like you just described. My kids are too young. We don't have babysitters. We can't leave them by themselves.
Right.
I don't know that my wife would be into that kind of a late night. So like it just hasn't been in the cards for me to do.
Fun, though.
I know,
Super
and
fun.
I love that kind of stuff. I absolutely love that stuff too.
Blowing it out.
But
Remember we did the
Sacramento
we
punchline.
will
We
not
never work
perform
on Saturday.
on New Year's Eve because we did it a couple of times. We did it in San Francisco one night, and that was fun because we finished the show. Nick Thune was with us. Remember that? Nick Thune was with it. We performed at the Palace of Fine Arts.
Yes.
So it was us and Nick Thune and somebody else who we really loved.
Tom Segura
Was it Tom Segura?
and Christina P.
Yeah.
It was all them. We were.
Was it all them?
Yes, that was
Oh
the
my
that
God,
was the
what a
show.
great show.
It was such a fun show. It was
What a
amazing.
great show. That was super fun. We did that show, and then we went out and partied in San Francisco. That was super fun. Then we did it in Sacramento one time, and it was like, it made us sad.
It just made me sad, and I love the club. The Punchline
No,
in
love
Sacramento
it.
was a great club. It just was sad. So we're not going to work. Randy and I, we had each other, but it was sad.
Yeah.
Other people had fun. We were part of someone else's fun night.
But for us, it was hard work. because they weren't really there to see us.
They were
just
kind of
there.
loud, and we were fighting through our like personal material, and
Yeah. It just felt like this shouldn't be happening on New Year's Eve. We shouldn't be telling this story about our families on New Year's Eve.
So this year on New Year's Eve, I think it goes without saying, there should be no New Year's Eve parties. There
Right.
just shouldn't be
There
one.
shouldn't have been one.
As a nation,
Skip it.
we can skip it
To heal.
We don't need to have the party. You don't
Country's sick. Don't go out.
Yeah, can't go out.
Yeah.
So that's why it feels insane to have a huge party on New Year's Eve at this moment in our history.
Don't need it. Don't need it.
Of course, dumb Donald Trump threw a massive maskless New Year's Eve party at Mar-a-Lago, which can we take a second and talk about
How dumb the name is?
the name, how dumb Mar-a-Lago is for a name
It literally
for a resort.
means sea to lake. Now,
Sea to lake, not de la Mar-a-Lago, which means from the sea to the lake.
it means sea to lake.
It's a nonsense combination of Spanish words.
It's maybe the most offensive thing that he's ever done to Spanish people.
Spanish-speaking people. No one should be surprised by it. Well, he threw a maskless, giant New Year's Eve party at his Sea to Lake resort. I'm only calling it Sea to Lake.
Sea to lake. In
Down
the
in Sea to
Donald
Lake.
J. Trump Ballroom.
That is the height of insecurity, isn't it?
When you name stuff after yourself at your own property. Like, we get it. It's your dumb resort.
like presidents have airports named after him. Like I wonder, it got me thinking. Like I wonder,
Ronald Reagan Airport,
Well,
George W.
JFK.
Bush, JFK.
I wonder what Trump will get named after him after this one term of like an off-track betting kiosk, the
Maybe
Donald J. Trump
a
off-track
sinkhole.
killing floors of a meat packing plant,
The Donald J. Trump DMV, a place that nobody wants to go ever.
like a Long John Silver's employee bathroom. Like
Maybe,
that's pretty much the
maybe.
height of what I think he's going to get.
Go put that mop with the dirty water in the Donald J. Trump employee bathroom.
500 people paid up to $1,000 to be there. Can you imagine that? Paying $1,000 to get COVID.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That's how much it costs these days, Jay.
When you can just walk
At-
down,
at-
to,
at
you can just
sea-
walk down to a Walmart.
At lake to sea. That's what
Sea
it
to
is.
lake.
Sea to lake. That's what it costs.
You have to pay $1,000 to get COVID. You can walk into any Walmart and get it for free.
It's just
I'm
dumb.
just telling
man.
you that.
It's just dumb.
That's how dumb these rich white people are and how dangerous.
Yeah.
Poor people had to work this party. There were people who had to work this damn party.
And they weren't wearing masks. They couldn't.
Watch tons of them get it. Watch them get it.
God damn it.
And I'm assuming
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I'm assuming that they spent so much money to be there because they thought they'd get to party.
Yeah, with Donald Trump, who was not there.
Right.
Skip town.
That's the most hilarious part.
That
Didn't
is-
even show up for that. So
So you paid money to get COVID. You didn't even get to see the man himself.
it's like he's not even loyal to his dumb diehard supporters.
Yeah.
He doesn't even show up. Like during the pandemic, he didn't show up. But of course, Rudy Giuliani shows up.
Of course he's going to show up. If
Good
there's a
old
free
Rudy.
meal, he'll show up.
I only saw the side of his head in the
Oh,
video, and it was
God.
dark. Of course, he was not wearing a mask.
No. Of course he had his pants down.
Surprisingly, surprisingly, he had his
pants.
pants on.
That's amazing.
His hair coloring, his hair coloring had only
Started
started to run down the
face.
side of his face.
That's when you know it's getting late at night. If it's down here around his cheek, it's 1 a.m.
So this is what I believe about Rudy Giuliani, and you can tell me that I'm off my rocker, but I think he wants to die. I think
he
he
definitely
is
wants
like,
to die.
I want to die. He's
Yep.
like trying
To do
everything
something
he
that can get him
can.
executed.
Let me get into enough bad situations because he's not ready to do it to himself. Like he's too cowardly of a dude to do it to
No,
himself.
can't he piss off the mob again? Like, do it now. Piss off the mob now.
He's going to try his best to like, he's like, if I go all in on Trump, then it will take me to an early grave. Like that's how I'm going to do.
Which at this point,
Is it that early?
yeah. I think he's out, like people at the Trump party outstayed their welcome. Like everybody who performed at the Trump party
Outstayed their welcome. And we're going to tell you who else was at the Trump party when we come back right after this.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. We mentioned it, eventbrite.com, Live Dumb People Town. Also get the free stereo app, and you can follow when we do conversations.
Oh,
on
it's
stereo.
so fun. I love the
Such
stereo.
a
We get to
blast.
hear your voices and talk directly to you.
You get to leave voicemails. We get to answer those in real time. It's like an old school radio show. It's really fun. It's one of my most favorite things that we do, and we haven't scheduled the next ones that we're going to do, but we'll figure out when we're going to do those because it's a blast. We were talking about Trump's New Year's Eve party, which he shouldn't have had at Mar-a-Lago, which translated is sea to lake.
Sea to Lake. Is that the
Sea-
dumbest thing
Yep.
you've ever heard?
It could not have been smart.
It could. It's like a jumbling of words.
It's
of
like calling
Spanish
it
words.
the lake of the sea. Okay.
So Rudy was there,
Yeah.
and of course,
All of Trump's sons.
so we're Trump. I don't know if Barron was there, but honestly,
Eric, Don Jr.
Honestly, I'm just going to say this: I don't know who's Eric, which one is Eric, and which one is Don Jr.
Who has the face that you want to punch really hard?
Both of them.
Okay.
Like if you showed me photos of both of those people, I wouldn't be able to tell you who's who.
Like
I
who,
cannot tell you
who
who's
has
who.
a beard now. Who looks like they just killed a protected elephant? Both of them.
They were singing loudly, or one of them was. I don't Eric or Don. I don't know. They were singing loudly. Play that funky music, Whiteboy. Now I don't know if they even knew that those were lyrics to a song.
Yeah, I think they'd probably just sing that.
They might have just been shouting like
That's
a
right.
request to action.
Yeah.
To somebody on the
Yeah.
stage.
Well, you know who was up on the stage. We'll get to that.
Well, while they were taking videos of themselves dancing,
It's like embarrassing and douchey all at once.
and it's 100% as awful as it sounds.
And
not even-
maskless. Maskless shows complete irresponsibility.
and of course, they were wasted, like just wasted.
Wasted in the way that they just stumble into a rape that they're committing.
Just loud, spraying droplets everywhere. Like
That's right.
like if they had it, they gave it to everybody.
That's
is
right.
what I'm trying to say. All over that ballroom. Here are some other highlights, or should I call them lowlights?
Call them
from the night.
lowlights.
The Beach Boys were there.
Was it?
Just Mike Love.
Was it just Mike Love?
It was just
Are you
Mike Love.
Sure? I think it was Al Jardine.
No, I think it was Mike Love because I
Really?
saw people writing about Mike Love, and I love Kevin Love.
Me too.
Mike Love was there, not Brian Wilson, of course.
goddamn.
Brian Wilson was
Maybe
the
he
only
was
one
there.
No, Brian Wilson was
He
not
wasn't there.
Brian Wilson was
I
not
thought
there.
It was Brian Wilson and Al Jardine.
No,
Damn.
Am I wrong to say
Maybe.
that?
I don't know. Who knows? Who cares?
Someone said
the Beach
Mike
Boys
Love.
were there, and it just upsets me to no end.
Look, Brian Wilson was the only one who was like preparing himself for a pandemic his whole life.
He was quarantining back in the day.
in his room. Seriously, Mike. Whichever Beach Boys were there, do you need this money?
No, you don't.
Do you need this money at all? What is the point of this?
Was it worth it? Do you want to die?
Do you need more money? Maybe you
could have
do.
died so many years ago if you just would have hung out with Manson more.
Look, maybe you're donating all the money that you made on this gig to frontline workers, but I don't know.
It's not a good
but
look.
It's just
I
not,
doubt
it's
that
just
that's what's going on.
Especially because the song you sang, or the song at least that they put in the highlight video, was Kokomo.
One of the worst Beach
Is that
Boys
the
songs.
worst Beach Boys song
It's
ever?
one of the worst.
It's even worse than Be True to Your School,
Right.
which is a terrible song.
Back in the day, it meant something.
There's a lyric in Be True to Your School, which is rah, 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 sis, boom, ba.
Yeah, that's
the whole lyric.
I mean, he's a genius.
That,
They are geniuses.
I'm sorry, Kokomo is terrible. Brian Wilson had nothing to do with Kokomo. There's no way he wrote Kokomo.
I doubt he had something to do with Kokomo.
And then maybe Eric and Don Jr. conjured up the next guy by simply saying, play that funky music, white boy. But Vanilla Ice did a set.
He raised the barn, as it were, there.
And by a set, I'm assuming it was just Ice Ice Baby,
Yeah,
which
of
of
course.
course he did. And I watched the video, Rand. He's in a vest, he looks like he's catering the event.
Like someone asked them,
Yeah.
where is the tiramisu?
Right.
At some point.
Didn't he go into real estate?
No, he went into barn raising and then he stole a bunch of like equipment from a contractor, like a bunch of stuff and like tools and supplies that were sitting out. He stole it from his barn raising show.
So I do wonder if there are moments when he's singing Ice Ice Baby on stage, like at an event like this, where he thinks to himself, he just goes back in his mind to being dangled off of like a balcony
by Suge Knight.
And part of him is like, if he dropped me,
I wouldn't have to be
better
here.
legacy.
I
It's a
would not
better
have to-
legacy. I wouldn't have to be here right now.
If he dropped me, I go out on top.
Could have gone out from the top on top.
Instead, I'm fading like my haircut.
I had to drop figuratively from the balcony of success to
Into
this
this.
place where I'm singing whatever his Ice Ice
See the
Baby.
lake, baby. See the lake.
Doing the one song into a room of old white rich people who probably vaguely remember.
Barely.
They were too old. They're like, a lot of them in this room, I see them, and they're like too old for when the song first came out. Their kids probably listened to it.
His name is Vanilla Ice. Vanilla is the term you use for boring. What is the most
It's a
popular
synonym for plain. You
What
say
is the
that's
most
so
popular
vanilla.
car in the United States? A white Camry. That is Vanilla Ice, baby.
Now, because he played a big maskless New Year's Eve party, it could be the name on the label on his toe at the hospital.
That would be fantastic.
How much, for real, do you think he made for that show, Rand? I'm asking.
60K.
60K, 75,000.
Maybe like Berlin was there.
He definitely couldn't do it. He definitely didn't do it for the love of the game. There's no way he did it for that. Like how much? Like this is so. Here's the question:
How much would you do it for?
How much do you value your life?
to be like, I'll do it.
I wouldn't even do this for $100,000, and I'm dead serious.
I would make
They're
sure
like do stand up.
if they vaccinated me ahead of time. Even still, I wouldn't do it.
it would
Can
have,
you imagine doing?
It would have to be in the millions. I would bomb.
Can you
for
imagine
millions of
doing
dollars.
stand up at this event? It would be the worst thing ever. We'd bomb so freaking
We would
hard.
bomb so hard, we would die so hard. But to me, it like, why do you have to play this event?
You don't.
You don't.
You
First of all, you don't
absolutely
have to have this event.
No,
and you
absolutely not.
absolutely don't need the money to play this event.
Nope.
I don't care. All the bands that we introduced. If you're a band and you're like struggling to survive, and you're like, hey, if I get this $100,000, like the people on Alone, every
Yeah.
single person on Alone, I'm like, they need this
Give 'em the
money.
money.
They need the
Give
money.
'em the
Give them
money.
all $100,000 for trying.
Just for trying.
So like if you're in a band like that, like to me, a band like Glossary, that was a band we loved. They're no longer together because I don't think
They
they
could
can
have used $100,000.
$100,000. They'd still be making music. That would have been great.
But it doesn't matter because this whole thing was just so Vanilla Ice could be like, there's Don Jr.
Yeah.
That's what it was all
Not
about.
even Donald Trump. There's Don Jr. yelling, play that funky music, white boy. And that's the wrong
band. That's Casey and the Sunshine Band.
which they might have even been there. I don't even know, but the whole thing was
idiot.
embarrassing.
And
All right.
that is a show.
There
That
you
is
go.
how we do it, guys. Just stay connected, stay protected. Don't get infected. Right now, more than ever, as we head into this weekend, lock it down. Just hold tight. We're going to get through this. I swear to God. Wear a mask is not a hoax.
But we've got the jokes.
We'll see you on Monday.
La-ti-da, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti-da, la-ti-da.